Hello guys, it's Like, and I'm replying to comments again. All the comments today are by Mr. Green3Eagle. First comment, you are so skillful. This was in regards to my Dark Souls 2 video where I beat the Smelter Demon. Then we have a very impressive, you should have won. There is a bonfire close to the boss. Never mind. Colon minus parentheses. This was in regards to my Dark Souls 2 video where I beat the Old Iron King. And finally, those corrosive pots you broke, that broke most of your equipment, is the way out of this area. This is in regards to Dark Souls 2 video in which I tackle the gutter. So first of all, thanks. I appreciate the support. It almost makes me feel bad for bashing the game so often. Almost. I don't feel that happy about the game itself. I'm sure I mentioned this in one of the previous replies to comments, but I want to make sure to mention it again. And that is that I've already beaten the game. I've already beaten Dark Souls 2. I've done it actually quite a while ago. Still during the summer. The final days of summer, but still. Yeah, it happened before the monitor broke. Pretty much the day I beat Dark Souls, next day the monitor broke, pretty much. So I do know where to go. I will most likely still miss various kind of secrets and whatnot, but I have gotten to the end of the game and killed the end boss, basically. That's how much I'll tell you about it. I don't want to spoil anything else. I still appreciate the comments. It's not like I'm annoyed with you or something. You dare tell me where to go, you bastards. I know where to go. No, it's not like that. I mean, I could pretend that I haven't beaten the game yet, but I don't want to do that. I want to be honest. It is what it is. I can tell you that there's still quite a few parts remaining. And lots of stuff happens, lots of rage happens, lots of funny things happen. So yeah. On the other hand, this means that you can go ahead and spoil whatever you want or ask whatever questions you want about the game. And I can, well, answer it to you. You don't have to hold back any information any further. It is completely fine. Now regarding the skillful and impressive comments, I'm not sure if I exactly agree. I have heard that quite a few people consider the Smelter Demon one of the hardest bosses in the game. I can see where you're coming from. I can see why you may think, oh well, I beat this boss in like, what, 10 tries or whatever? Probably less than that. I haven't counted. I don't remember the exact number, but there wasn't a lot of tries, and yeah, in the end it was pretty cool. But I feel it's important to note a few things about how those boss fights work that may make it seem like, oh my god, I'm so amazing, but it's more of a case of knowing how to deal with them than this. So first of all, it's important to understand the agility mechanic. Agility is a stat in Dark Souls 2 that was not present in Dark Souls 1, and I didn't know about it pretty much until I fought Ruined Sentinels, which was quite a while ago, but it took me like 20 episodes to get there. So it was a considerable amount of time that I played without having any understanding of that. And what agility does is basically it makes you respond faster to input, from what I've seen. Basically you drink the Estus flask faster, you shield up faster, things like that. And as well as that, it apparently increases your chances of simply sidestepping attacks. And also it determines how many invincibility frames you have in a dodge. Now, if I were to say, like, what is the one thing you would want to be just removed or changed from Dark Souls 2 in terms, I think pretty much without a doubt, I would say it's this agility introduction into the game. I feel like this stat has no place in Dark Souls. Absolutely. And it's the one thing that I can't forgive this game for doing. Like, there's a lot of stuff that I can still kinda, I wouldn't say understand, but at least forget and forgive in Dark Souls 2. But the agility stat is something that is just so inherently stupid and unnecessary that I can't forgive it. It just makes the early game really miserable, in my opinion. Really miserable and annoying. Basically, I really don't care for making new characters, because I know that I'm gonna have to level up agility, either through attunement or through adaptability stats. And until I do, I know I will be vastly ineffective in most of the things that I do. If the agility change wasn't in the game and you would simply act normally as usual with your character, I'm pretty sure that my death counter would probably half just from that single thing. Most of my early game as I played Dark Souls 2 I spent trying to dodge and whatnot, and I would constantly get hit by various attacks that I felt didn't hit me. While occasionally it was true that they actually didn't hit me, you know, I looked frame by frame and the weapon lands completely behind me, it doesn't even touch me, but I still take the damage. This has happened, I've seen it frame by frame, inspecting every frame for collision, and I saw none, I still take damage. And I've seen this on other people's videos as well. Even disregarding that, there were times when I felt I shouldn't have been hit, because I really played dodgy in Dark Souls 1. Not at the start, yeah sure, I started, the first time I played through Dark Souls 1 I was very much a armor up, shield up, medium roll kind of guy. But that's because at that time I was trying to ascertain whether the game was really hard or not. So I was trying to play optimally with certain restrictions that didn't impact the game too much. I wasn't trying to be like awesome or skillful at the game when I played it for the first time. It was the second time that I played it, the New Game Plus playthrough, which I did naked and only using Ascended daggers plus 0, so all possible daggers like Chaos Dagger, Fire Dagger, Raw Dagger, but all of them plus 0, and I was naked and I couldn't use anything, like no shields, no armor, no damaging items. It was pretty cool. I recorded this. It's up on YouTube's. It was fun times. And during that playthrough I really enjoyed playing the game mostly because of dodging and stuff. So, dodging in Dark Souls is like pretty much as core mechanic as it gets. So fucking with this mechanic is a very bad idea. There's a reason why most people, when they play Dark Souls 2 for the first time, say that dodging doesn't work, instead of trying to figure out, you know, what's the problem. That's because it doesn't make sense for it to work the way it works in Dark Souls 2. Which is essentially, well, you can wear almost any armor you want. Character doesn't care as long as it's less than 70% of your load, which is a huge amount. Like that's almost in Dark Souls 1 terms, that's almost inability to roll. In Dark Souls 2, fast roll. The worst thing about it really is that it's a level upable stat. Tell me who wouldn't invest into agility a great amount? Who would want to be slow in any possible situation in Dark Souls 2? Besides crazy people who go for challenge runs with like terrible stats or whatnot, yeah sure, but you can emulate that anyway by just wearing really heavy items at the back. just not using them. Really, who wouldn't put points into agility? Show me a reasonable build that wouldn't do this. PvP or PvE? It makes absolutely no sense not to, because it's such a huge deal. Like, the reason pretty much why the Smelter Demon is so simple for me to beat is pretty much because I have the agility for it. Because I have the agility, I can actually dodge his attacks reasonably often, even though they track and to all hell and have a hitbox of the size of the world. It's fine because I have enough invincibility frames where I can manage. And I know this because I did take another character to Smelter Demon, and this character had relatively low agility because it was a caster. Primarily, it was supposed to be a caster. It turned out to be mostly melee anyway because it was faith-based, and they decided, oh, let's make it so they have almost no casts of their spells, because that is really fun. Like, I mean, seriously, their change was increase the damage, reduce the casts. How about you do it the other way around, you idiots? How about you leave the casts alone and just reduce the damage? If it's so important, introduce maybe more similar... I don't... I wanted to play a caster, but it just ended up being like a slightly longer range melee. And I went up against the Smelter Demon with low adaptability, and I died very many times because his overhead smash or whatever would just clip me slightly during my dodge. Since going to the Smelter Demon obviously involves killing a bunch of dudes, I racked up about 100,000 souls, invested all of those souls into leveling up my adaptability, and then I beat him pretty much in the next 2 tries. The first try I just failed miserably and pretty much got hit straight in the face because I didn't calculate for my stamina correctly, and the second time I just completely almost face scrolled him. He didn't even come close to hitting me once. So it's really the only reason I can think why people think that Smelter Demon is hard is because they come to this boss and they still don't have enough stats to dodge him. That's it. The other thing that I have against the Smelter Demon that most people probably don't have is that I didn't lock on. And a lot of people keep yammering on how you should lock on, like, no, I shouldn't. I can't think of a single boss where locking on actually helped me with consistency. If anything, it put me at more danger because of the enemy tracking. The enemies in this game, pretty much every single one of them track, more or less. Some of them track a considerable amount, others track 180 degrees in the middle of an attack. And most of the bosses are more of in the considerable camp, thank goodness. Including Smelter Demon. He tends to turn, but he doesn't turn 180 degrees, that's for sure. I haven't seen him do that. But you can clearly see how, especially when playing with a keyboard and mouse, if you're locked on, you're actually very limited in what directions you can dodge to, for example. You really only have like 8 directions, the 4 general ones, left, right, forward, back, and a combination, any combination of the 2 of the 4 of 2. However, when you're not locked on, you can actually direct your dodge directionally with the camera, which is one of the main reasons why I don't lock on. I like that freedom of being able to be very accurate as to where I want to go. Once again, agility stat really ruins this because it creates these delays which make this whole turning and then dodging very ineffective. It's pretty hilarious how it works because I'm pretty sure you can turn instantly, but only once. After you turn instantly once, the second turn is gonna be delayed, I believe. Something along those lines. Slightly delayed, at least. Not a lot, but I think that's the case, at least what I've gathered from looking at my old videos and everything, that you can turn instantly. This was the pretty much the leading cause of my deaths when things went through the shield. I would click to go around the enemy and I expect to turn slowly, but I instantly turn to the side and the enemy hits me in the side with an attack. Because I turned. What I expect is that, you know, I'll turn slowly, he will hit the very side of the shield, and then I can continue turning and going around. Obviously that never happens, because the first turn for some reason is instant. But if you turn and then you try to turn back towards the attack, very often it just doesn't work. Because you're just slowed down or something. That was pretty pain in the ass, but what I'm saying is essentially, really, the only reason I beat the Smelter Demon that easily is because I had figured out how to get my stats, specifically agility, to a reasonable level. I don't feel he was a hard boss, because I faced him how he should be faced, in my opinion, with the dodging abilities, and with my directional movement being able to point me in very accurate directions, allowing me very easy sidestepping and side dodging behind him that wouldn't be possible under any other circumstances. That's really all it is. But honestly, I would want that the game didn't even have this nonsensical choice of, hey, invest 20 points into a stat. 20 plus, by the way. Or just have terrible dodging skills. Like, who is not gonna put points into that? I can't think of a single reasonable build that, assuming they didn't have the adaptability or attunement, wouldn't be better with adaptability and attunement. Because it's that much of a difference. Like I said, I pretty much leveled up, and a boss that I couldn't kill for my life because he would keep clipping me became pretty much a one-shot. Like, why would you not want this? It's just silly. And yeah. Alright. That's enough ranting for today. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you laters.